Alright. Rubelite Oasis. Definitely a hotter map. There is a bit of a cloud ceiling here, so I think I'm going to have to play a little bit closer to the action. So we'll have to see what kind of angles we can get. Both teams on the way. We are on the Empyreal side. Let's see what kind of mechs we have here. Commando 2D. We've been seeing this commando in use quite a bit. SRMs and a medium laser, and it's a very, very fast mech. Locust has been fantastic. It's an extremely fast mech. Great for cap strats and things like that. We've got a Highlander here. AC-20, LRM-20, SRM-6, 2 medium lasers. Now that, to me, is a bracket build. Annihilator. Look at that. He's got wings on that thing. That's pretty cool. Annihilator, 4 PPCs, 4 medium lasers. Now, 4 PPCs, I know they have an Annihilator that has 4 AC-10s, but this one has 4 PPCs, especially on this hot map. He's going for that pinpoint long-range damage, but look at how slow he is moving with this stock build. Absolutely an incredibly slow mech. So they're not going to be able to do a lot of really fast rotations away from him because they could potentially leave him behind. Now, the 3 light mechs here for Empyreal heading up to that Theta cap. Val in the Locust is there, and it looks like he's going to actually snag that cap. UAV goes up, but the cap does go in favor of Wild Ones. So here comes some of them LRMs. They're getting those hits in on that Locust. He is trying to dodge into cover. You know, it's going to add up. Those LRMs will do damage, especially against the light, and he can't stay out there for very long. And I think that's going to allow these light mechs to move up and try and retake Theta. Selith in the Locust going to give it a shot. It looks like he might, well, he's stepping off. Looks like they're starting to get some angles on him. And you don't want to stay there too long. Ooh, chasing him off with a strike. No damage on that, but he cannot stick around. And they were able to hold Theta in favor of Wild Ones. Look at those Lerms fly. We got an Archer, File Titan, 2 LRM-20s. Definitely LRMs in play from Empyreal here.
Kappa is under enemy control.
3 cap now for Wild Ones to 1 for Empyreal. So this is going to force Empyreal to either really start landing some of these hits and wear down the other team, or they're going to have to make a move and try and get some of these caps back. But so far, Wild One's doing a fantastic job just rejecting any attempt at a cap on Theta. Selith finally going over to give them a little bit of breathing room by capping Epsilon. But looks like we have some movement here on the left side. Lights coming up. Chimera in a Stalker 3F. 2 LRM-10s, 2 SRM-6. They were able to get up there and force him to back up, at least for a little while. But they definitely need to be careful because, you know, if it looks like LRMs, lots of LRMs on Empyreal, so bad peaks, especially if you don't have cover nearby, could cost you quite a bit of armor. These lights really playing up front right now. One of the worst things that could happen for Wild Ones is if they get caught out. A huge stream of LRMs from Empyreal could shred a light in a very short amount of time. Another strike going out. Looks like he might be trying to get a hit on that Stalker, but he's too far away for it to be effective. Taking a look at the percents here, we got 71% for the Black Knight on Gernhawk. He's been taking quite a few hits. He's back here. 3 large lasers, trying to reach out and touch, but he's not trading too well. But the caps continue to tick in favor of Wild Ones. The longer they can hold out and preserve their armor, it will force Empyreal to make a move. Looks like we are going to have a back cap maneuver here. Stimrog in that commando trying to swing around to get Kappa. They are marching up the Stalker and the Archer as well as the Annihilator to try and support that cap movement. So this is a little bit of a left side swing They're not going to be able to go and take Kappa back with these guys moved up as far as they are. But at the same time, it's almost like they knew what each other were doing. But there's a back cap on Epsilon. We've got Val in that very, very fast Locust flipping Epsilon. So we've had a slight rotation, but they need to be careful. Like Lerm got here in this Banshee. I don't know if he knows that they're moving up right now. If they get caught out in the open like this rain is going to hurt quite a bit. They were attempting to stop that cap, which it looks like they successfully did, but at the cost of a lot of armor as the LRMs came raining in. Kondo, once again, these guys need to be careful how exposed they are as Empyreal starts to do a hard push up the right side. It's not a brawl push, but it's going to be getting them the angles they need to keep this rain going. Wild Ones are hemorrhaging armor. The absolute worst thing these guys could be doing is leaving themselves out. Stimrog in that commando, getting up front. Self-destruction by Lermgod with the overheat. So one mech down for Wild Ones, and Stimrog coming in here, providing those locks and getting some of that extra damage in there. Percents for Wild Ones are starting to decrease. Tickets still in their favor, though. If that Locust, who is going for a back cap on Gamma now, those two mechs are out of the fight, but they are continuing to keep the tickets in favor. 2 deaths now for Wild Ones, a third one as well. 5 mechs remaining. They're just trying to buy time for that back capping Locust. Val doing the best he can to get these caps as quickly as possible and keep them on top. As long as they continue to hold Theta as well, it's going to get to the point where Imperial's going to need 4 caps to be able to pull this off. But if they are able to wipe the rest of the Wild Ones off of the field, that shouldn't be an issue. Charlemagne now getting that key Theta cap point. They were able to stop him. They are just trying to buy as much time as possible. JZ goes down, 4 remaining for Wild Ones. The rest of them essentially are just trying to slow Empyreal down. Wild Ones 100% focused on the cap game. We actually had Kappa, the commando broke off and was able to get Kappa as well, so they are still able to hold on to a couple caps. Rathnor able to take out that archer. File Titan has gone down. But it's really up to those 2 remaining capping mechs. Rathnor still alive, though. Let's take a look. See if he has anything left in him. Ooh, 1 shot center torso, and he's just got the 5 mediums and the PPC, and Imminent able to finish him off. So we've got Nightbird backing up, but I think they just called that he needs to keep them from flipping Kappa back. It is a full cap, so he can harass for a while here. Those harassments are going to add up. 100 tickets remaining. Wild Ones are getting 2 tickets per tick. So the longer that Nightbird can continue harassing Charlemagne, the better for his team. As we can see, based on the arrows in the bottom left, another one is heading off to Gamma, so we're going to have 2 simultaneous fights here. Nightbird doesn't necessarily need to win this fight against that perfectly fresh Wolfhound. He needs to be careful with the LRM rain coming in, though. But the longer he can keep them from flipping this point, the better for his team. It's all about timing at this point. Nightbird is getting now jumped by Reckless and Selith, as well as Charlemagne. But we have this other fight going on at Gamma, just as equally important. Now, Stimrog has a lot less in terms of his health. Trying to grab him there. Let's take a look. The commando is open center torso. If he can take him off, this is going to be a big grab for Val. Got him! Stimrog goes down. 20 tickets remaining. If Val is able to hold Gamma, which it looks like he's going to be able to do, that ghost there is dead. Stimrog is dead. Val simply needs to hold this for just a couple more ticks, and this one is going to go in favor of Wild Ones. They just now got Kappa flipped. A brave effort there by Nightbird in the commando. It took him that long to take him down. Wild Ones takes drop 1. Well played by 228. Playing for the caps. Getting those lights out there and capping when they needed it most. And then just keeping their mechs alive. They were starting to get slaughtered down. Their assaults and their heavies started dying, but they stayed alive as long as they could. They kited. They didn't just all die at once. They spread the battle out enough to allow their lights to do the job, and then those two separate battles, Val in that Locust and Nightbird in the Commando, holding two caps right up to the end. Fantastic gameplay there by Wild Ones, winning this one. 750 tickets to 595. Only one player remaining on the Wild Ones team. Fantastic. So, Wild Ones takes game 1 in this best of 3 series. Empyreal, of course, will have another chance to try and pull this one back. But yeah, let's bring up the map. That was shocking. You know what's funny is I actually had my map already brought up on Rubelite Oasis. That was completely by accident. I had no clue that they were going to pick this map. But essentially, we had a spread here of... Oh, well, before we do that, they're getting right to the map ban phase. Let's see where we're going to end up in Drop 2. Looks like we're heading to Caustic Valley, so we're keeping the theme of hot maps, and we've got ourselves an open map, a very open map, so LRMs could still come into play on this one. So we have Wild Ones setting up some of their heavy boys up there. They had a PPC Grasshopper all the way in the back here, and they had caps on Kappa. That initial play on Theta was huge. Just gonna say, Wild Ones got Theta and they kept it almost the entire game. And that play was awesome. They had a great spread of guys able to see Theta and control the caps on Theta. They ended up sending somebody to get Epsilon. Ultimately, with that left side swing, they lost Kappa. And Empyreal then, made their commitment up here, sweeping through, killing all the assaults and heavies. But the big play of the games, those light battles here and here, able to lock it down. I mean, a Commando 1v3, able to live as long as he did. Incredible. So, we are not going to be revisiting Rubelite Oasis for Drop 2, though. We will be heading into Caustic Valley. Of course, we did see Caustic Valley yesterday, Isengrim versus Wild Ones, and we saw Wild Ones take a, let's see here. Well, let's bring this up, why not? Go back to the map. Wild Ones took the saddle side when they were Team 1. It looks like they are Team 1 right now. So they set up most of their mechs right in this corner here. Isengrim, of course, coming around this way and kind of stalling out right here. Well, they attempted to get their lights up in this corner and just get spotting information for their Lerm boats. But the MVP of that one for Wild Ones was that Locust going around getting the back caps. He was able to get this cap back here, no issues, because there's so much defilade right here. Compare that to the other side where it's just open field and it's so hard to transition and not get completely shredded up by those sight lines to get those back caps. And I think really on that one, Isengrim just didn't respond to that. The fact that they were able to embed right here and not move. And Isengrim was towing around one of those slow annihilators, and waiting for him to come around was taking an eternity. And that's where I was thinking, just basically maybe even a push through here, or having their light, a different kind of light that could get better spotting information for them or something like that. But Wild Ones once again on Team 2, we'll have to see, are they going to do the same thing as last time with just a really strong firing line set up there to hold Epsilon, Theta, and Gamma. Gamma is a bit of a weak point for them, though, but once they get this lineup here, they can actually sneak someone in on Sigma, and as we saw, they can get a guy around here, too. Is Empyreal going to fall for that trap, or are they going to be able to counter that light movement? We'll have to see. hopefully you guys are enjoying the show so far. Once again, MDM is not here today. He will be back tomorrow. And we are going to be doing a giveaway at the end of the stream today based on chat participation. So if you guys talk in chat and get hyped up in chat, you will be added into the drawing, and we will do that roulette at the end. But here we go. Caustic Valley drop 2. Wild Ones up 1-0 on the series. Definitely seeing a lot of the same mechs in use there. I mean, we saw the Stalker. It has that brawl capability with the SRMs, but also has those LRM racks, and we're definitely seeing LRMs in use a lot more here in stock mode. We see the Locust, the Commando, the Wolfhound, all fantastic light mechs. We see a Spider this time, Stimrog on Empyreal, bringing a Spider to the action. And an Atlas AS-70. God, I love those wings. It's awesome. Bowser is just showing off today. So, an Atlas on the field. Let's see what the build is on this Atlas. LRM 20, AC 20, SRM 6, and 4 medium lasers. And no doubt, a massive amount of armor on that mech. Another Archer on the field, so definitely some LRMs in play. Stimrog in that Spider. Going up against Val. Blocking that initial Theta cap. Able to stop them from snagging like they did last drop. And he's actually going to try and get it himself. But he's paying for it a little bit with his armor. But they were able to get some good LRM hits on Val, down to 75%. And it looks like Empyreal is going to get Theta this time. 3 cap now in favor of Empyreal. And we're seeing those LRMs starting to rain down. So a little bit of a turn of events here compared to last match, because Wild Ones was able to snag and hold Theta almost the entire match. Looks like they're able to get out of harm's way from that artillery strike, but lots of LRM exchange back and forth as they move Selith in the Commando out from Kappa. No doubt he's going to be attempting to get some locks for his team.
Resource point Theta is ours.
Navid in that Javelin rocked down to 47%. He lost an arm, and he has his left torso wide open. And his left leg. That's very, very dangerous for him. So Empyreal setting up a very decent firing line. They have a lot of their guys right up in front here, but really, they're just able to get these locks, and they're able to put this damage downfield. 57% for that Banshee right now. And they're dropping the strikes left and right. In terms of percents here, Wild Ones definitely on the short end here with 2 of their mechs sub 60%. And they're not able to put that damage back downfield against Empyreal. They did manage to get Theta, but Selith now trying to get up there himself to flip that back. And it looks like he took some damage, but was not able to get Theta back. That's probably when that Javelin got beat up. He snuck in there and stole it. Brave play, but it cost him dearly. Now Epsilon, here comes the back caps. Epsilon now getting captured by Stimrog in that Spider. So that advantage starting to bleed away for Wild Ones. Now they are sending 2 people up to Kappa to try and flip it back, but it looks like Charlemagne in the Wolfhound, he wants to stop it from happening here. Or at least he's watching them, maybe getting locks. Charlemagne might come up and try and fight this one. Or at least he's able to stop the cap from succeeding. Good effort here by Charlemagne, just locking it down for his team, buying them time. Nightbird there to try and chase him off, though. And another attempt by Val to flip over Kappa. See if he's successful. Looks like he's gonna get away with it this time. Now Selith in that commando coming over on this right side. This is where he's able to get those locks on that Annihilator. He's not able to get into cover very quickly because it's so slow. Selith dropping a UAV as well. Lermgod is going to feel this one in the morning. He's able to finally get behind a rock, but JZ down to 40%. This definitely is not looking as good as the last drop, with Wild Ones shredding a lot of armor here. And they do not have the cap lead that they had last time either. Selith down to 44. Annihilator finally able to get some good hits on him. But lots of these heavy mechs just really suffering. And it looks like Empyreal's making the call. They are moving their heavy guys up to the front. 93% Atlas leading the charge. And they're able to soften up and destroy that Stalker before even getting there. Lermgod is about to get a face full of what Reckless here in the Atlas has to offer. Down to 21%. There's no surviving through that. And this is going to be a quick cleanup here for Empyreal. They are getting Sigma, but again, not having the cap lead they had in Drop 1, I think Empyreal's going to be able to take out these big boys and then spread out their lighter mechs to prevent any further caps. Looks like we have a fight here at Gamma. Stimrog in the Spider gets legged by the Javelin. But he's in trouble as well. Stimrog protecting that left leg. One more shot on it and it'll get him. Two of those lasers shred off. Not able to make the connection on the Spider's leg though. Both of his legs in critical condition. And he gets legged. That's going to be costly. He was able to finish off Stimrog, but now no mobility is going to be able to save him from the rest of the team that's coming over. Imminent in a 4J. He is trying to get as long of a cap on Gamma as possible, but now 3 caps in favor of Empyreal. That's enough to put them up and over, and without the mobility of Navid, he's not going to be able to pull it off. Looks like Rathnor in a 4J, still in pretty good shape. He's got Val in front of him, but Val is getting chased down here by the Archer. But at this point, it's going to take a miracle for Wild Ones to pull this one off. 4 caps to 1. At this point, they're delaying the inevitable. So a very good effort there by the light mechs for Empyreal, getting the locks they needed. The LRM boats were doing a fantastic job softening up Wild Ones. Some pretty nasty peaks by Wild Ones just really cost them quite a bit.
The enemy has capped enough resources. We've failed.
And that one goes in favor of Empyreal. It is now tied up 1-1 on this best of 3. 834 damage by File Titan in that Archer. That's a Lerm boat right there. The 2 LRM-20s. Definitely getting the locks he needed to drop that damage in. And there's not a lot of places you can hide in this map. Really, not a lot of options there at all. And he was able to bring that rain and bring it consistently. 606 out of that Atlas. He only has the 1 rack of LRMs. Able to move in there for the finish right at the end with the AC-20. But I'm willing to bet Reckless in that Atlas. Most of that damage most likely coming from those LRMs. Very good spread by the rest of the team though. Another Lerm boat that's Stalker, of course. And even damages on the 228 side, but just not able to match what Empyreal brought to the table. Popping another cough drop there. Oh man, alright, so Caustic Valley, drop 2. One thing I noticed first and foremost here is that we didn't have that good solid area denial here by 228 that they did against Eisengrim. They got caught up essentially playing the corner here, which is a rough corner to play. I'm sure they would have rather have gotten over here, but essentially instead of Empyreal giving up that side to 228th and moving this way. They did their own area denial, setting up a lot of their guys is really closer, right up against that D5 entrance to Caldera. Had great sightlines over Theta, were able to contest it, and at the very least, when Wild Ones got Theta back, they punished the person that did it. I believe it was that Javelin. They punished him for getting Theta back, and like I said, first drop compared to second drop, not the cap lead I think Wild Ones was hoping for. And it looks like we're going right back to Caustic Valley. I'm sure Empyreal is very happy with this one after the performance they just had there on Caustic Valley. But I don't think it was Wild One's choice here. I think the last ban went to Empyreal, so that means the second drop I think was Wild One's choice, taking it to Caustic Valley. Possibly wishing that they could take that one back after the very strong gameplay there from Empyreal. Wild One's already demonstrating that Empyreal is human, though, taking the first drop of the series. They were not infallible this season in the qualifiers. They did lose 4 matches. Still, I believe, the best record. Not the best. They weren't first seed, but still, fantastic record from Empyreal. But they did lose 4 drops. Now, that seemed pretty early on. They do have a very different roster this season compared to the last 2 years. And I'm sure it took them a little bit of time to get used to each other, start building a rapport with each other, and towards the end of the qualifiers, seem to have it all together here. But Wild One's shaking it up a little bit, taking that drop 1, but that drop 2 looked a lot more familiar, not necessarily in the type of weapon systems we're used to, but just the coordination among all of the players on the team, and just getting the focus they needed, having fantastic movement, knowing when it's time to go, area denial. It all was very familiar to anybody that's been following Empyreal the last couple of years. Both teams, though, are getting switched out into whatever mechs they need for this second trip to Caustic Valley, and this will be the decider for the match. We do have a couple more matches, I believe 3 more matches that'll be shown to you guys tomorrow on Sunday here, starting at 1 p.m. Eastern, and then 3 p.m. Eastern and 5 p.m. Eastern. And those, of course, are the first matches in the winners bracket. And as the losers of those series move down, then we're going to have matches in the losers bracket as well, which will be elimination rounds. So no eliminations this weekend. I'm sure we'll start to see those next weekend. But so far, all 12 teams still in the tournament, in the semifinals. And these guys will be fighting for the chance to reach that top 3 spot and get their ticket stamped to go to Vancouver MechCon 2018, where they'll be battling it out live on stage in a 2-day event for your pleasure. I, of course, can't wait to get back to that event. It's been awesome the last 2 years. Really a fantastic celebration of everything MechWarrior. If you guys have the opportunity to get out into Vancouver December 1st and December 2nd, get out there and go, just if anything, just to hang out with a lot of people who love the same thing you do. That's, to me, the best thing about the whole thing is the people. I love the people. I love talking to the people. Love hanging out with the people. Love having beers with the people. They are the reason why this community is so awesome. So just waiting on a couple more people to get readied up here, and then we will be dropping into Drop 3 to decide the winner of Game 8. So, let's take a look back at the map again while we wait for these guys to get readied up here. So, what can Wild Ones do differently here? with this new, you know, LRM meta in stock mode, everything is just so wide open. There's not a lot of spots that you can get behind. And it's really been the play of the lights to get around and get those angles. As we saw, one of the key moments here was Selith making that brave stand, able to get the locks in on a couple of those assault mechs on that right side. And those Lerms came in and wrecked face. They hit him hard. And that commando did not get punished nearly as much as you'd think he would. But it was almost like the terrain worked in his favor, because if he did start getting hit, all he did is back up, and they had nothing to answer with it. This entire area here is void. There's nobody that can really get good angles in to stop that light. You'd almost needed to have somebody with either pinpoint to stop that commando, or you needed to have those light mechs back over in this area ready to stop him. But after that javelin, his leg got opened up. That javelin no longer can really get in the face of that commando and stop him from doing that. So preserving your lights and not allowing them to drop him under 50% like that, not allowing him to get opened up, because you definitely play cautious when you get opened up, and you got a leg, you're in trouble. So that javelin, no doubt, played differently after he got opened up and was no longer able to prevent that commando from doing what he did. And that was basically the beginning of the end for Wild Ones. So mech preservation, getting good angles, returning fire. It seems like Empyreal has a lot more LRMs than Wild Ones does on the table here. So elongated fights like that, if they're not able to stay in cover, it's going to start adding up against them. All right, drop 3, 1-1 on the series. Winner moves on. Loser heads to the losers bracket. Now, one thing to note here, they did switch sides now, because they switch sides every drop. So while we are back on Caustic Valley again, they are on opposite sides of the map. So Wild Ones might be able to play this differently. We haven't seen Wild Ones play on this side of the map yet, so I'm not sure what to expect. But it looks like we're seeing a lot of the same mechs in play. We do have a Catapult C4 on the field. Potentially just thinking that maybe they can out-lerm Empyreal. So Val getting up there, stopping the cap on Theta. Stimrog is already there, but getting those early locks on Val. Able to dodge back, but Theta falls in favor of Empyreal. So that's a good early grab yet again by Empyreal. Val trying to get it again, but Stimrog's still there. And Val once again retreating, no doubt, followed by, well, maybe not Lerms. He got out in time, but 2 caps for Empyreal to 1 for Sigma. 1 for Wild Ones, and Val yet again trying to get in there, trying to get some stuff done on Theta. This time taking the long way across, taking even more damage. So this is where I was saying before, preservation of your lights, and now a 4 cap in favor of Empyreal, while these lights continuously attempt to get just Theta. Val moving off to the left side here, Stimrog in that spider. Looks like he's moving to get some very severe angles here in favor of Empyreal. Val trying it one more time, but getting hit by File Titan in that Archer. Able to get the hits in, and once again, he was able to neutralize it this time, but it's very costly every attempt. Charlemagne in that Wolfhound, able to get a good burn on Val. He's down to 66% now. They were able to send Nightbird and Navid off to get Kappa, but a great artillery strike, interrupting the cap and dealing some pretty decent damage here to that Wolfhound. It's all spread, but it adds up, down to 72%. Wild Ones just seemingly unable to stay out of harm's way here, as I believe Charlemagne in this Wolfhound now assisting with even more. I don't know whose UAV this is, but if it's Val's, that rain's going to come in and start hitting Charlemagne here. That might be a very key Hey, wow, Rathnor able to hit Charlemagne. I don't know if that was rear torso or what, but that's big. Yes, rear torso with those lerms. This UAV here, placed by Val, very, very solid movement, able to get the locks they needed. That was a very big play.
Point Theta is ours.
Imperial still up 3 caps to 2. They did get a light mech down, which is pretty huge, but hopefully for Wild Ones, the damage was not too severe. Navid and Val here searching for Stimrog in that spider. He's, I believe, able to get locks from this high perch. They saw him, and they're going to try and chase him out. They're getting some locks for his team, too. And Stimrog now starting to get slammed as well. Now, in these 1v1 light fights, it's pretty rough because the Lerm boats are going to be tossing shots the entire time the fight's going on. So whoever has the Lerm boats closest are able to send a lot of fire in to harass. And it looks like Stimrog has gotten legged. That's a pretty big play right there, getting that spider legged. He's still getting locks for his team, though. Val not able to finish him off. Self now coming over in that commando. Navid in that javelin floating nearby. But that really puts a light advantage in favor of Wild Ones. And I don't know if they put up another UAV or what, but Stimrog still getting hit. And now a Hunchback 4J getting in the face of those light mechs. And here comes the rain from Wild Ones against Imminent. He does have a rock to kind of help him out. And now Selith in there, and Val gets taken down by Selith coming in from behind. I don't think he knew he was coming. Able to get the hit. And now Navid attempting to withdraw. And Imminent now getting the rain in on him. While Selith holds hard locks on Navid. He's trying to get out of there as quickly as possible, but that swung the light advantage pretty much right back in favor of Empyreal. Selith coming in here, trying to finish it off. Looks like he got a leg on that javelin. The LRMs are coming down on Selith right now, but they are going to be able to finish him off. And Selith now, with nobody able to see him, is able to slip away. 4 caps swinging back in favor of Empyreal now. Bowser taking out Lermgod in that Annihilator. It was a good, solid effort here, but we got a huge left side push. Imperial once again bringing their big boys up that left side, and they want to finish this one here and now. Archer leading the way against Jay-Z in that Stalker. He's going for the Highlander, but he is completely surrounded. Those LRMs become useless at that range, so he's forced to resort to his SRMs and lasers. Kondo very fresh still in the Archer, but 4 caps to 1 and a huge ticket lead for Empyreal. Once again, it's going to take a miracle for Wild Ones to be able to swing this one back in their favor. Lot of bleeding out of their armor there. Reckless gets taken down in that Highlander, but Nightbird in the Wolfhound, that's the other light for Wild Ones. Down to just Rathnor and Kondo. And this one's going to go in favor of Empyreal. They lost a lot of armor at the beginning. They got a bit of an advantage against the lights after getting a nice gank, but were not able to hold on to it as that Hunchback came over. Imminent in the Hunchback came over to help them out. And then Selith coming in and getting a key backstab, swinging it right back in their favor, followed up by a very hard push by the heavy guys on Empyreal. They're hurt. There's a lot of hurt mechs on Empyreal, but some very key plays by Empyreal to swing that right back in their favor. Take a look at the damage. Stalker, Archer, both over 600 damage. Reckless, 494, very respectable. The Stalker, Jay-Z, 578. Decent amount of damage there himself, but the rest of his team not able to get those LRMs quite as well as Empyreal was able to deliver it back. Charlemagne and the Wolfhound, only 12 damage, but doing his job, getting caps, getting angles, and just playing, you know, blocker essentially for the enemy lights. Stemrog as well, 84 damage, but he was doing some fantastic spotting, even well legged, continuing to spot for his team so they could bring the rain. Was able to live all the way to the end too. But LRMs, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to competitive play. Just took stock mode. Stock mode and some buffs. But Empyreal able to edge out Wild Ones 2-1 decision. So we didn't have a blowout, but 2-1 decision on Caustic Valley. 2 wins straight on Caustic Valley. And they will be moving on in the winner's bracket. Wild Ones will be dropping down. Let's take a look here who they will be playing next. Wild Ones are going to be dropping down to the losers bracket, and they will be playing against the loser of match 1, which will be either RJF, Russian Jade Falcon, or Dudes Club. Both of them European teams. So we'll have Oceanic versus European. And then Empyreal moving on to match 14. And they'll be waiting to see who wins between 228 Swamp Foxes and Smoke Adders. And then ultimately the winner of that moves up to play JGX. Winner of that facing Empyreal in match 14. So, quick move to the map strat here. Wild Ones, of course, in red this time. They set up kind of like we saw Empyreal do before, setting up a strong side right there. Empyreal taking that backside. Basically the same thing that Wild Ones did last time, but the key here is they were able to really deal a lot more with their Lerms. We saw Wild Ones switch out to bring more LRMs this time. But that spider, the introduction of that spider, able to swing all the way around and just get some really key locks here on that back wall. Cost him a leg, but he did the job, got the sight lines he needed, forced them all into a little corner there, and then the finishing charge of the big boys. Some really fantastic light play here by Empyreal. I honestly think, you know, the Lerm boats, they did their job. They dropped on whoever gave them locks, but the lights, both games, yesterday and today, the lights are what makes it happen, in my opinion, and they've been absolutely fantastic so far.